Again, I can't believe we're in the first meeting of this year already. I see James has started the recording. That's great. So again, we've got quite a few things to get through today. James is going to give us a digital inclusion update just following this. We're going to do a bit of a look ahead just after that. So every year we start off with a wee bit of a planning session in our DigiRen just to make sure that we've got a good focus for the year. We'll also have a look at Cyber Scotland Week that's coming up shortly, a few weeks away. And then we'll do a few partner updates. If there's anything people want to share with the DigiRen members, always welcome. It's great to get a wee bit of a shout out for any sort of things that are happening. And we've got a few things under any other business, so just a few updates, things that wouldn't have maybe sat as a proper session, but it's really useful for people to know some of these as well. And then we'll look at the dates of the next meetings. So first, I will pass you over to James, who can give us a digital inclusion update.
Thanks, Ross, and good morning, everyone. So we just move on to the next slide. So yeah, today, just to give you an update on some key work around digital inclusion that's been taken forward and either delivered or in the process of being evaluated. So I'm going to give you a focused update on two pieces of work that many of you may have contributed to or helped shape, and that is DigiZones and also the successful Digi November. Both programmes are central to delivering Renfrewshire's digital strategy, but just as importantly, they're about strengthening the support we offer across our communities and helping people to stay connected, confident and included. DigiZones were launched back in October 24 as part of National Get Online Week across 21 hubs and also a mobile DigiZone, the Scoobmobile. The core idea was very, very simple. It was to create one clear, recognisable front door for digital support wherever someone lives. And that might include access to devices and Wi-Fi, support to build digital confidence and skills, help with online services, or friendly advice and signposting. And a real strength of this programme is that it was co-designed with a cross-sector subgroup, the DigiZone subgroup, and also the Fairer Renfrewshire Lived Experience panel. And community voices genuinely shaped the branding, the model, and the evaluation approach. The DigiZones, they now sit firmly within local priorities, so within our community plan, the council plan, our digital strategy, which was approved a year past in April there, and also the community learning and development plan. So digital support becomes part of everyday community work and not just a standalone project. Some of the key findings and impacts, the early implementation phase gives us a really strong evidence base. Across January, we started gathering feedback and evaluations from January 25, and we took that evaluation up to December, so we had a full year's worth of stats. And so across the DigiZones, over 96,000 visits, 820 training sessions were delivered. Actually, over 980 hours of digital champion support was delivered. And as part of device lending libraries and lending initiatives, 43 devices were loaned. Then when we looked at the number of public devices that were accessed, over 32,000 and almost 50,000 Wi-Fi sessions, public access Wi-Fi. What made this work, in my opinion, was it was co-designed from the very start with people with lived experience and also organisations delivering digital inclusion work. The mix of fixed hubs and a mobile DigiZone, reducing travel and cost barriers. So, I suppose strong, simple branding in the 4-icon stage, signage rather, that really allows people to see what's available in the various DigiZones, and also the visibility of DigiZones during Digi November campaigns. Again, what also made it work was the true partnership model involving Renfrewshire Council, OneRen, Renfrewshire Libraries, Active Communities and Rural Connections for Life, as well as others. And this is the kind of whole system approach that we talk about, that communities recognise and also respond to. In terms of lessons learned, we've learned quite a lot in this early phase. Different venues naturally attract different groups and needs. People really rely on accurate, up-to-date directory of information, and they want to know a session is definitely happening before they travel. So, DigiZones they're doing more than supporting digital skills. They're increasing confidence, supporting independence, and helping people to participate more fully in community life. And we need a steady, always-on level of communication alongside bigger campaigns. We did see the success during DigiNovembers, but we need that always-on approach to communication. And youth-only or restricted spaces that perhaps tailor to specific groups need clearer messaging, and so people don't turn up and feel like they've wasted the journey. So for the next phase, the recommendations include that we'll be keeping the single front door and consistent branding. We'll be making even greater use of the Scoopmobile, if possible, to reach communities most likely to experience digital exclusion. We're hoping to continue to grow the digital champions across Renfrewshire, and also strengthening our work with housing, health and employability, as well as other partners where digital inclusion makes a real difference to outcomes. So delighted that earlier this week we shared the draft evaluation reports with our subgroup members for feedback, and the next DigiZones subgroup will be taking place mid-February, and we will be stress testing a mock exercise to check the robustness of the overall end-to-end process and evaluation. We'll also look at the criteria that might be considered for future phases, which include a place-based needs or a place-based approach, thematic priorities such as employability, young people, older adults, etc., evidence from local insight that exists, such as child poverty information and other related information. And also I'm working with colleagues in our data and insights team to update a digital exclusion map for Renfrewshire, and that could also play a really important part. Again, all of this will help to shape the next phase of our DigiZones across Renfrewshire. So let me now turn to DigiNovember, which many of you helped to deliver, and a huge thank you to everyone. This was by far our biggest year yet. This is our second year. First year was over 5 days. This one was over 24 days. And between the 3rd of November to the 30th, 174 events took place, 164 delivered, there was 10 cancelled. Fantastic effort by everyone involved, and the range of activity helped reinforce DigiNovember as a shared collective effort across Renfrewshire, not just not a council campaign, but really a real true partnership movement for digital inclusion. Across the month, we had over 1,260 participants, and each week, again, great work, a big shout out to Ross and Rachel for doing this. Each week we issued an evaluation feedback form so that it continued to be the forefront of everyone's mind, to encourage them to feedback, and so that we can sufficiently evaluate the month-long approach. We received 130 out of the 164 responses, which is a 79% feedback return rate, which is extremely high for community to learning activity. Every partner who took part said they wanted DigiNovember returned again in 2026, and I'm delighted DigiNovember will be returning again in 2026 this year. And 100% of our partners that took part were either satisfied or very satisfied with the 2025 programme. We also asked what words describe the success of DigiNovember, and the top 3 success factors were collaboration, empowerment and community. And again, this speaks very strongly to what DigiNovember is all about. And then just my final slide here is some examples from individuals show the real deeper impact. A carer told us drop-in sessions really worked better for him than bookable ones, and he plans to continue to attend these drop-in sessions. Many people didn't realise they could access Press Reader for free in libraries and in council buildings. There was an event took place, an in-person event at the council headquarters. 116 people attended, and they were blown away with what Press Reader could offer. One person was amazed that they could use AI tools on a basic mobile phone, and another said that the creative digital activities that were run in partnership between the Moore Collective and Paisley Housing Association helped to reduce stress, supported well-being, and helped them feel more connected. Again, this is for me a real reminder that digital inclusion isn't just about skills. It's about confidence, well-being, and belonging to the individuals and to our communities. So happy to take any questions, any comments, or any reflections just from what you've heard. And again, a huge thank you to everyone that took part in DigiNovember. Thanks, Ross.
Thanks, James. Sorry, yeah, got myself in mute there as well. I've got my own hand up for that, so I can come in and bring myself in here. This is how used I am to Alan being there. Yeah, it was great. Obviously, seeing it all come together, and just to add to what you were saying there, obviously the feedback we got about the changes to make. I know there was a few things in the report that would help make it even more of a success this year. We're going to focus on as well. Again, it's just seeing the breadth of the amount of events that were happening. Even now, when I look up all the data for the report, things jump out at me that I didn't even see happening before, which is quite incredible. So yeah, it's just can't wait to get started on that this year and see how we can build on it.
Absolutely, Ross. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Andy.
I was just going to say that this year we've got even greater insight from the data that we gathered right from the outset, so we could break it down to place, to community, to town, etc. And obviously during as part of the themes, the thematic from general digital inclusion, internet safety, health and well-being, etc. We were able to find and associate that, so we could really break and drill further down to give us greater insight in what worked and what could be improved.
Excellent, yeah. And again, I know we've got we did request things like the social media outreach and things as well, and the Kate Engage had obviously sent on the statistics for the page visits and things, so it gives us an idea of where we're reaching, because I know one of the kind of main aims is how do we get the word out to people that maybe aren't using computers? Is it through friends and family, through staff, and all these sort of things? So we've obviously tried to tackle every direction there, and seeing these kind of stats will be a real game changer this year. Alan, do you want to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Ross. Just going back to the DigiZones, and apologies if I missed this. It's just to check if any information's changed or is going to change at any point soon, because we've got the information on Alice and on Wire, so I just want to make sure it's up to date. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the DigiZones as it stands just now is correct and up to date on Alice and Wire. We will be looking at, as part of a subgroup, going forwards, the next phase, which in terms of the onboarding, etc., we're probably talking a few months away anyway, but we'll certainly keep you up to date with any changes or any additions to both Alice and Wire. But no, thanks, Alan.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So looking forward to the next phase of that as well. And great to see the feedback that we've had through that as well. It's tied in very well with DigiNovember. Okay, I'll move on to the next section then. So this is our DigiRen look ahead for 2026. So I will stop sharing the screen for a second while I get the form up for you. So we're going to try a wee
yeah, so in terms of this, we're keen to ensure that our focus as part of DigiRen this year is based on our members, our feedback, everyone in this room, and those that weren't able to attend. And once we receive the overall feedback, the responses, we'll develop a programme for invite relevant speakers along, presentations and sessions based on the responses and the outcomes. And again, when completing the or if you've already completed, think about your own digital inclusion aspirations and how the focus of DigiRen could really support and amplify those the efforts that you're trying to achieve within your own respective organisation. So I'll see if Ross is ready to take this. Yep, great stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so we've jumped ahead to question 3 here because again, the first questions are just the name and organisation here. But I know some people have filled this out already, so you see some of the results in front of you here. So every year in DigiRen, we always begin with a planning ahead session, just to look at our digital inclusion aims for the year. So that's both to help organise all our members' thoughts about what they'd like to focus on this year, or just to begin on planning this. So obviously, some people might just have an idea of what they'd want to look at this year, and it also allows us to plan our meetings and the sessions that are in those around what people would like to know more about. I think last year AI jumped out as our kind of main focus, and some internet safety as well, actually. So we're going to take about 2 minutes for a question here, roughly, just to think and answer, just for ourselves and our organisations, about which aims we have. So, like I say, there's 7 questions in total, but the first 2 are just the name and the organisation name. So, like I say, I've skipped ahead to question 3 here. But when you join this form, you'll get asked those 2 questions anyway. So, again, you can join by the QR code on the screen, or I think James has popped or Rachel has popped the link into the chat. Thanks for that. So again, the questions, again, don't worry about being too detailed with them. It's just to get a broad overview of people's focus and interests for the year. So starting here on question 3, it is what would you like DigiRen to focus on this year? So we've set this as a 3 top options, and again, I'll talk through these a wee bit just so you see which ones are here. So the first one is our connectivity, so analog to digital switchover, and the reason we were including that one specifically this year is obviously this is the last year that they're going to be switching people over to the digital services. So they're aiming to shut off the old network. I think it's by January 2027. So we're really just down to, what is that, about 11 and a half months maybe, if we're lucky. So probably a lot of people have heard people that they work with, or even family friends, maybe themselves even, being switched over, and people being sent out equipment to make the change. So some of the information we gave out last year was around that kind of area, and I imagine that'll probably become a bit more intense from about summer this year when they get into the sort of final stages. We're also each year we do try and keep an eye on connectivity in terms of broadband deals, social tariff broadband, and mobile data. So again, we've spoken to people that work in Ofcom and things about the sort of list they maintain, and about trying to make things visible for people. So again, it's always a bit of an interest in us to make sure people have that kind of information. One of the other options is digital accessibility. So that's just making sure that people can use the devices they need to use, and any sort of options that they would need to switch on to make that possible. Digital skills and online tools, so that's probably the biggest category. That covers quite a lot, and actually, if you wanted to know about things like AI and health and wellbeing and things, probably that some of those are covered in that as well. So that's more of our sort of catch-all, and that's the sort of when we normally run sessions where we'll show you specific things, or we'll have organisations that come in that deal with a specific tool to help you learn a bit more about it. Artificial intelligence, again, we heard about that a lot last year. And again, it's not really slowing down the pace. It seems to be expanding, if anything. So again, we've always got our eye on that. Digital health and wellbeing. So again, one of the main themes that came out in our Digi November as well. And always keen to see how we can use online tools in a sort of safe way for ourselves, for younger people, and for older adults. And our RenSafe online project, which has been ongoing. So again, just taking all that on board with online safety as well, just making sure that people can stay safe. It's probably one of our biggest concerns, actually, when we do digital inclusion, that when people learn how to get online in those first few stages, they're probably at their most vulnerable then, because they don't know the risks. So it's quite a topic for us to look at. And then the last one is just doing our Citizens Voice Forum updates. So that covers the Digital Champions project, or DigiZones project, which you heard some of the updates there from James. and our device reuse and recycling project, which is the Patchadoo Equality Access project. So that's our options just now, and we can see some of the things that have popped up now. So we've got 7 responses just now, so I'll not spend too much longer on this because everyone's had a chance to answer these now. Oh, it's changing as I speak. So yeah, it looks like our winner at the moment is definitely digital skills and online tools. That's probably the bread and butter of DigiRen, so I'm not surprised on that one. That's good. So it looks like our next follow-up is digital health and wellbeing, which is good to see actually, and it's got that kind of response as well. Always keen to do more sessions on that. Everything else looks, there's a few accessibility, citizens voice forum, yeah, a few keeping up there. So again, we'll release these results anyway. We usually put the slide deck out on the Engage site, so we'll include the results in that as well. So I'll move on to the next question. Again, if you've not finished it though, you'll still be able to answer while we go through these. So this is the next question is just any topics you would like to see discussed that were not in the included section. So that would be your thing to take. So people have said a few different things there. Yeah. So again, that is maybe based on the fact that the screen hadn't scrolled down there. Some of the Patchadoo device recycling, equality access. Yeah. So it's been named. They're definitely one to focus on this year, and I think we're really keen to try and reach out to all of Renfrewshire and see what devices we can get back into use for people. 11 responses for that one. Yep. So I've got quite a few. And I'll move on to the next one. So this is digital inclusion priorities for your organisation. So we just said for this one, just a sentence or even a few theme words would be useful for this one. Again, we can click on all responses for this. So it's probably a bit easier than the word cloud for this. So some people said digital skills, digital wellbeing, citizens, people's engagement and participation. Yep. So digital health and care. Digital human rights, principles, and again, that's one that's always quite close to my heart as well. Digital health and care awareness, improving digital skills and confidence. Yep, our goal is help individuals become more confident, independent digital users. Accessibility to devices, support and information. All really great priorities here. Upskilling and providing tools for staff and workplace digital champions to help signpost. Additionally, greater outreach for older adults using online platforms, empowering older adults by amplifying their voices, promote independence, enhance safety and wellbeing. Yeah, so they're all really great points here. And again, I think the theme we see there is just making sure that people have the power in their own hands to get online safely. So that's great priorities here. 11 people submitted that. This one, this question was specifically looking at whether we wanted to try and expand in-person meetings for DigiRen. This was a bit of a loaded question, and we did try and write this a few different ways, so apologies that it came out. We decided to go for a straight and simple here, but I know it's not a straight and simple question for many people. I was specifically a yes for this, but I was a yes other because I wanted to see some more, but not to replace online meetings, because I know it does actually really benefit people from sometimes where they're working, sometimes they're scheduling. It's really handy to be able to jump online, and it's not always possible for people to attend in person. So even if you did want an in-person meeting, sometimes it would have to be online as well. So I know it's not an easy question for people to answer. So majority of people here so far have said 45% yes. So I know it's obviously quite a small group here compared to the full membership. So we will send this out, the form out again for people to sort of fill in after this as well. And we'll get some more responses for that. But so I think generally people are thinking yes for a meeting. I don't know if I could stop at this and ask if anyone wants to jump in and say either why or why they would have chose other as well. I've scared everyone. Says, oh, Susie, I'll bring Susie in first.
I was another, just exactly what you said, just to sort of balance. I think I put that as a comment, just to have a balance between online and face-to-face, because I think face-to-face are really worthwhile, but online are convenient for scheduling, just exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good points, and again, it's tough to work out, because I know a lot of people said when we switched to online meetings years and years ago, it changed the dynamic of how people spoke, and I think actually over the years people have become a bit more relaxed about speaking online. Whereas I think when we all first started having to use sort of online tools, we're all kind of we're on the screen, we're the one talking, but it doesn't feel quite like that anymore. But there's obviously different conversations happening in person as well, so I know what you mean. It's a bit of a mix. I think it's Robert coming in next.
Yeah, just to say the exact same thing Susie said there. I think it's beneficial for people to have a mix of how they socialise, whether it's online or in person. So yeah, for me, I'm not surprised that it's kind of sitting in a mix of both there, 45, 36%. There's not much of a difference between the two of them. I'm not surprised by that. I just think different people's viewpoints on it, preferences on it, if giving them the option, I think is good.
Excellent, thanks. Yeah, and I'll bring you in, James, last as well.
Thanks, Ross. Yeah, I was probably in the mix of yes and other, and it's really interesting because I think we used the feedback from last year, and we've talked about in-person events. What we mean is hybrid events, so that people have got the option of still attending online. And a prime example was the success of the December DigiRen meeting, which took place at Engaged Renfrewshire offices, and they have a fantastic setup where everyone in the room can see everyone, or everyone online can see everything that people in the room see. So it's great to have that that flexibility built in, and hopefully, I think the very last slide, we've tried to incorporate those hybrid meetings in throughout the year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, not taking away the fact that there would be an online aspect to that, definitely. I think for the December meeting, because we had to be a bit wary of some of the spaces given out, it's sometimes when we do release these in-person ones, it's a kind of first come, first serve for these kind of things, which might still happen depending on the venues we go to. But yeah, I think it's good having that mix. And I don't think we'd ever be stepping away from doing hybrid. I mean, at the very least, it would be you'd be able to join online anyway. Gozi, do you want to go in?
Yeah, thanks. I thought I'd throw my tuppence in with this one. I think there's a couple of things, having been involved with DigiNovember from the planning group's perspective, both delivering online and supporting in-person sessions. I think it very much depends what you want to get out of what you're doing, and if we've got accessible range of options to do that, then I think we're almost duty bound to be able to explore them as far as possible. But there's obviously, there are a range of different considerations and limitations. But I think from last year, from the mix of events that were delivered across DigiNovember, it was such, a rich and really quite well supported campaign as a springboard for this year. So I would say, by all means, we've got a little bit of a privilege to be able to be thoughtful about, well, what do we want as an outcome from a hybrid event? Sometimes people either default to hybrid just because we've got the tech to do it, or some other, maybe not quite so solid kind of objectives. And then sometimes people are really, really scared of hybrids. So I think we've got the opportunity with a lot of the intel, I think, that you guys have gathered as well from feedback and things, and what we're doing here today to kind of focus minds on what kind of the mix should look like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like it's yeah, I suppose exactly what you're saying, because we've got the ability to do that. It does give us a bit of a good position to offer it in that sense. I know a lot of people might struggle as well, running hybrid meetings in places where there isn't specific equipment as well. So I think having that knowledge helps us in that sense as well. And actually going to the next question, it was a question on what venues people would suggest. So there was jumped to the slide. It was that kind of idea of what sort of community spaces can we use for this. Some places that are on these lists do have equipment that you can use for hybrid meetings, and some of them don't. So again, I don't think it would really inform us though in terms of where we'd want to go. I think we'd still be able to deliver a good hybrid meeting in these anyway. Tannehill Centre mentioned a few times there, yeah. The Russell Institute, yeah, that's a good shout as well. Skills Development Scotland. And again, it's funny because you'd think for all the years we've worked here, we'd know all the venues, but it's not always as simple as that. I mean, places change sometimes about what they're able to offer. Sometimes there's spaces that seem obvious as well and they're not usable. So it's always good to put the question out there. Okay, yeah, so a good mix of responses there as well. And again, we'll take that forward anyway. And like I say, you'll see all these results anyway, and maybe there's venues there you might think of for your own organisations as well. Okay, I'll move on to the next section then, if everyone's okay with that now then. Yeah, I'll have to move on. Perfect. So I am passing you back to James for the Cyber Scotland Week.
Yep, thanks Ross. Yeah, if we move on to the next slide. So Cyber Scotland Week, we were notified thanks to colleagues at Age Scotland. Takes place between the 23rd and the 28th of February this year. It's the 8th year of this national campaign, and it brings organisations, communities together to strengthen cyber resilience, promote online safety, etc. And a recurring theme this year is Can't Hack It. So that's again practical steps for staying safer online. Why Cyber Scotland, a particular focus on cyber matters? Cyber threats are continuing to evolve. Again, there's that increased need for resilience and focus. And it also supports the National Strategic Framework for a Cyber Resilient Scotland, and also it will support every organisation, big or small, to maintain that resilience throughout. So in terms of activities, as I said, Age Scotland, Ian Fraser from Age Scotland had contacted us to find out if we were doing anything specifically in Renfrewshire, and we put Ian in touch with Sally Wilkes, the Digital Champion Coordinator at Renfrewshire Libraries, and I'm delighted that there will be a focus. It will be a digital skills drop-in with a focus on cyber safety, which will take place during Cyber Scotland Week. Lead Scotland is also hosting 5 free accessible online webinars as part of the week. Again, simple practical steps that you can take to stay safe online. So whether you're looking for a refresher or learning the basics for the first time, we've got the links here, and I'll post them in the chat after this this section. And it's designed for people and suitable for everyone. So you'll see the various events and sessions that are taking place. So there's 6 things to do for staying safe online. The Monday, staying safe from phishing on the Tuesday. Wednesday, stay safe on social media. Thursday is about the staying safe from extortion scams, and Friday, staying safe while shopping online. So we move to the next slide, and Rachel, myself, Ross, we had a chat with Cathy Fraser, the RenSafe Online lead at Renfrewshire Council, and we're delighted that DigiRen will be working in partnership with RenSafe Online and GetSafe Online, and we'll be sharing daily bulletins, and Rachel is in the midst of pulling these together, and we'll have a theme each day using the GetSafe Online Self-Help Centre toolkit. So on the Monday, it'll be about check a website, how you can stay safe to check that websites are safe. The Tuesday, it'll be checking a data breach, and that'll be using tools such as Have I Been Pwned? On the Wednesday, if you can check spot a phishing email. The Thursday will focus on how you can check your social media footprint rather. Friday is about checking strength of passwords using the likes of Password Monster. Saturday, we're in the process, or Rachel's in the process of checking that we can send delayed bulletins, or scheduled bulletins rather. It'll be Ask Silver, a fantastic AI powered WhatsApp platform. And then the Sunday, a bit of fun to finish off a really important campaign, which is about spotting the AI. So again, using an existing tool. And then the next slide is how DigiRen can support. We're very keen to hear, one, if you were aware of Cyber Scotland Week, but also two, if you have any plans to promote, so you don't have to put a website, a webinar or a session on. As I say, we're, as part of DigiRen and in partnership with Get Safe Online and Rent Safe Online, are issuing bulletins to over 200 of our DigiRen members. And hopefully then the ripple effect takes place, and that's cascaded throughout the relevant networks. But you can host or co-host activities, promote cyber awareness across your teams and communities, signpost staff to national events such as Lead Scotland that we've already spoke about, and the digital skills drop-in, and reinforce the message that simple actions can help build cyber resilience. And again, just wanted to open it up to everyone, just to hear your thoughts. If you've got any plans, if there's anything that you're thinking that you would like to do, we'd love to hear from you. I can see Alex, you're looking for your hand up there, aren't you, Alex? No, I thought you were looking for your hand
I
up.
was just taking some notes there, just quite a lot there, which would be good to share with our staff team, if they're not aware of it yet. So the kind of the bulletins you were talking about there, James, are they going to be shared online somewhere? Are they going to be quite easy to access if I was to share that with the staff?
Yep, it'll be in the form of a newsletter, an email newsletter that you can forward on to staff and volunteers.
Perfect. And the webinars, do you think they would be suitable for some of our older adults to kind of view as well?
Absolutely. I think as I think it said, it's designed for disability or accessibility and accessible for everyone. So absolutely.
Right, perfect. Cool. I'll get sharing that then. Thank you.
Super. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just dive in quickly. I think I've just managed to beat you, Gozi, into this one. I was just going to say, it's always interesting seeing the social media footprint. I think we've all probably Googled ourselves at some point just to see if anything pops up. But you know, all these kind of things are buried obviously deep in the settings of a lot of social media sites, because they do like to get people connected. So it's always good to be aware of things like that. But yeah, we'll definitely be running some classes. I think we've got an online safety class during that time for one of the classes we're running as well. And we always focus on things like the Have I Been Pawned site and things like that, which is, I mean, it's honestly a treasure of you know, having that kind of information that you can check that kind of thing, and it explains to you why, you know, your details out there would be safe or unsafe or not, you know. So I think it's quite reassuring for people. Again, obviously, having had emails myself that have been, you know, compromised or sites on passwords, I think if you've got an email that's maybe been longer than 10 years old, it's probably popped up on something. So again, it's a bit of reassurance for people that they're not, you know, they're not at imminent risk, but it's just about maintaining that kind of digital hygiene, as they call it, and making sure your information's safe moving forward. So yeah, definitely sounds great. Gozi, do you want to go in?
Yeah, thanks. Do you know, I think it's a great roundup of stuff going on over the week, which I'll be promoting across the Digital Citizen panel for sure. I know that Maisie, my colleague, who leads on Discover Digital and also produces a Try a Tool Tuesday roundup, which it was weekly, but it's dropped down to monthly, a monthly roundup of 4 key health and wellbeing digital tools. And I know that she's got a focus on Cyber Security Scotland Week for that. She's on holiday at the moment and back on Monday, where I'm sure our plans will sort of ramp up. But I've just popped a link to January's roundup for Try Tool Tuesday into the chat for folk to get a wee idea. But excellent to see Ask Silver on the schedule there as well. So some fantastic resources that I think through the year as well, James, just get drip fed, you know, because yeah, that week you could come away feeling a wee bit paranoid after Cyber Security Week, after all them resources armed up to the gunnels. But I think it's also just good to have like bite-sized opportunities, like for instance at conversation cafes, etc. through the year.
Absolutely. No, thanks. Sorry, Ross, if I can just come in. I've just had a quick look at the Try a Tool Tuesday, the monthly bulletin. Is there any way that the digital inclusion mailbox could be signed up to that, Gozi? And then what we can do is we can share that with our members, because I think it's some fantastic resources in there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's available on the Alliance website, and that the monthly roundup, and it's social media content at the moment, but there's absolutely no reason why we can't link you in directly to when Maisie collates that on a monthly basis. And also there's our digital digest, which goes out on the first Tuesday of the month. I don't know what the migration is towards Tuesdays, but there you go. They seem to be like good luck days or something at the Alliance. But yes, without any shadow of a doubt, have a chat about that.
Great stuff, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds brilliant. Yeah, and obviously Maisie's obviously hard at work. I feel like she deserves a holiday for that work, and I wish I'd booked one earlier on in the year to beat the January blues. But we're in February now, so I can't complain now. So let's see. We'll move on to the partner updates. So again, you've actually started that off really well, Gozi, with the try a tool information there as well. So again, this is just the meeting room open, I suppose, for anyone that wants to dive in and say any of the kind of work they're doing or do a shout out for anything that's happening. I don't know if anyone's getting in particular. I could also, I don't know if Gillian, you're still there. I was interested to see how you were getting on with the online activities as well. I know you'd mentioned a bit about the iPad still misbehaving at times. Is it still a struggle trying to get the technology to always play ball?
Well, I think that they're getting better. It's when new people join, so they know not to touch certain things. But definitely, I'm really proud of getting into a good routine now with because obviously we do the online groups that follow a format like health and well-being. I don't know if I'd spoke to you about the neurobics that they've started doing and the falls prevention. So that has made a huge difference in the number of falls. Wow. But I hadn't really been doing much of the Ren Safe online, but now we're in, so as well as maybe it's doing I think it's about 15 groups now we're doing, but a lot of them are online tutorials. So the one we just did there was about security updates. So I like the way that Ren Safe Online and Get Safe Online, the language that they use, that's definitely like it's, I think the way we word things has to be adapted to older adults, because they were born decades before technology. But I'm even surprised at the things that they've managed to learn themselves. Like the other day, in fact, the 101-year-old said, oh, I think I was off. I was on holiday. And she says, oh, I just done what you sometimes do and watch the YouTube video. So they've all got their like their own YouTubers that they know are quite good for tutorials. So that was how she done that. But it's, in a way, it's kind of took on a life of its own. They're just doing more and more stuff, and I'm struggling to keep up with them. But the other thing I wanted to say was their community, because that had been mentioned already today. See the amount that they're doing in their community now, because they now know where to go. I mean, I know about the AliceNet, but a lot of them don't go to day centres, but because of the digital service, they've joined other groups like the Forget Me Not Cafe, the Heritage Group, an art class, and these things are all free. So, because there is a charge now especially for the day centres, Roar, whereas before, so we now make a Wednesday the day that we look at our community, what's on, what's happening, and we explore social media together using the screen sharing. But also want to see the kind of health side of it. we use NHS and forms, so it's not myself delivering false prevention, like and if they like a particular video, there's one that a physiotherapist does, and he shows them good habits to keep their house safe. But in terms of and the amount of less falls among the digital buddies, which, as you know, is the name that they've called themselves, compared to the 2024, is phenomenal. Even myself, I mean, as you know, I'm disabled. I haven't actually, I hope I'm not jinxing this, had a fall since July 2024. And that's because I'm consistently doing the falls prevention as well. So I can't stress enough how much this has been life-changing. I mean, when we were doing the feedback in December, and Bill said, I mean, most of them now take their iPads into hospital. In fact, when Bill was going into hospital, he said to the ambulance, he says, "Have you got clothes?" He went, "Never mind that. Make sure my iPad's packed," and even had his headphones with, he's even got headphones with his mouthpiece.
Yeah,
so
he
that
sounds organised at that. Yeah, and it's
he
great to
really
hear.
is, and they're so welcome. And as you know, we have learning disability as well. We do Playlists for Life, which has been a real game changer. I mean, we can have people come on the Playlist for Life, and they're so down,
Yep.
and it's yet to actually see it working.
Yeah, definitely.
By the end of it, and
if you don't mind, actually, I would just dive in there to say, I thought James had maybe shared it there. There is a link, maybe. I don't know if Rachel, you could maybe have a peek for the link for it. Just to share it in the chat. It is a great tool for people to use to, again, like you say, for people that are maybe doing sort of reminiscence things to help with staying active and things. It's great. So yeah, definitely. And that all sounds amazing, actually. I totally agree with you about the online groups. See some of the groups we'd set up, the digital groups that were running before, sometimes I felt like I would start the meeting and then they would almost not need me anymore because they'd be having their own conversation. I'd just be like a third wheel standing there. But no, I mean, it's amazing the work you're doing, and that's amazing about the falls prevention as well.
You can see it. I mean, I've got videos. We don't record meetings, but we do. Like, I'll say, is it all right if we record this? And one lady, in fact, they all used to go to places like Spinners Gate and that, and they don't. I feel sometimes older adults who've got a learning disability are kind of forgotten, and they've all met each other again through their iPads. But this particular, it caught my eye, and I'm thinking, and she starts doing that with her hand, and I'm thinking, I knew the power of it. I'd been on the training, but to actually see it in real time, and it makes me feel better. So it's been wonderful.
Yeah, good to hear that. Yeah. Oh well, thank you. Yeah, that was a lovely update as well, and good to hear the positive work going on. Again, hopefully we'll mirror some of the things happening there as well, and in our older sheltered housing complexes as well, as you say.
I want to show you aerobics. I know, but next time I'll get you all doing aerobics, and then you can see if you can do it.
That sounds good. Yeah. I'll have to move on there because I know if anyone's got any other updates they want to share, though, you can pop it in the chat too. But I'll move on quickly because I know we had a few things to go through for the any other business as well. So, Cosey's shared something in as well. Just to say that before we go. Yep, human rights principles and digital health and social care. Yeah, was that one you wanted to speak about there, Cosey?
Just wanted to mention that we revised our digital human rights principles at the end of last year, and yeah, we're really pushing them across the landscape, which is looking like the human rights bill might be back on the table as, sort of an official piece of work, election depending, but there's a certain amount of awareness raising that we're doing behind that. And also, I was going to pop into the chat the work we're doing with mycare.scot, which is something I could probably speak to James directly about. Playlist for Life, absolutely fantastic. Gillian, that was so heartening to hear that kind of stuff. And Weekday Wow Factor is another organisation, does amazing, amazing stuff. I'll drop that in the chat as well. That's me.
Excellent, thank you. I'll go through these really quickly because I know I've got 3 quick slides and then we'll get the dates out. I know at the end of last year we spoke a bit about the kind of data safety and security in the last session we did in December. So it was just to share one of the good resources actually we'd sort of noticed as well on one of the Microsoft sites. So this was a bit of an explainer of what is data security. So again, I've just taken a screenshot from this, but you could use the QR code or the link on the screen to see it. So it's under their Security 101 sort of series, and there's a whole page that talks about it. So this is just one part of the page. It just tells you all the sort of things you would need to do as a person and as an organisation to keep your data secure. So it covers all the bases, and it's great if you're thinking about trying to design some sort of plan. Including things like, so it's not just obviously, malware or phishing attempts and things like that, but if there was actually physical loss of data, for instance, if there's a flood or something similar. So it covers all these sort of bases. So great resource to see there. Just to give you all a quick update as well on the National Data Bank. So we had heard that there was a change of Chief Exec Officer coming up. It was Vicky Selleck's going to be taking over at the role at the Good Things Foundation as the founder of Good Things Foundation. Helen Milner's retiring in March this year. So because of that changeover, they've currently paused organisations signing up to the National Data Bank at the moment. So that paused from the end of January. I think we'd sent one of the updates for that out in one of the DigiRen emails at the start of the year. So just to make people aware, so you can still sign up to be a National Data Bank, a National Digital Inclusion Network member through Good Things Foundation now, but you can't access the data bank unless you've already become a member of the data bank. So hopefully they'll reopen soon anyway, but they said they're just pausing it to plan the next phase of the National Data Bank's future. So I know there's been a few changes with the providers and things, with mergers of some of the phone companies and things. So they're maybe looking at the ways that they give out SIMs to organisations as well. So there's a few things for that. But actually we noticed on the page here as well, just yesterday, I think they did a post on the one of the organisations they work with, Reconomy, to get devices recycled and delivered out to organisations. And I know a few people put in applications last year about that, and they should be hearing in February about whether they were successful or not to get any devices. But it looks like that's still progressing well, so worth a read on their news updates page as well. And the last thing, second last thing, we're going to be opening up the opportunity to expand membership of the Citizens Voice Forum soon. So that's our other digital inclusion group. So whereas DigiRen is more about sharing information and sort of doing sessions where people learn things to take away, the Citizens Voice Forum is the action orientated group in Renfrewshire. So usually when we get people to join the Citizens Voice Forum, they'll sit in the main forum group. And they'll sort of help shape what's happening in our subgroups. And we do also open up subgroup membership where people can actually get really directly involved in the work. So this is things like planning how our DigiZones will work, or trying to increase the digital champions and the project there under Sally Wilt. So these kind of things. So again, if anyone's interested in taking a more active role in what's happening in digital inclusion across Renfrewshire, keep an eye out for the email that comes out with that from our digital inclusion mailbox. And the last part today to note was a digital inclusion e-learning opportunity as well. So we're currently in the process of designing an e-learning module on digital inclusion. So this is to give people an understanding of what digital inclusion is and what resources there are available for you as an individual and as an organisation. And we're currently working with the Scottish Government, one of their research teams, to look at the course now. So we're looking for volunteers to go through the course and be critical about it, say if there's any things that they feel are missing or we could change about it. So the time commitment's just 1 hour of research to do that, either online or in person. So they're quite flexible about the availability. And we've got the email address there, which I think has been shared into the chat, which is csresearch@gov.scot. Yep, so in the chat, perfect. Okay, so if anyone's interested, send an email on and say, yes, I would like to help out. It'll make a great difference to us as well, having that kind of oversight. And we obviously want to get as many people engaged in that as possible to make sure it's a fit for purpose e-learning course. And that takes me 1 minute past to the last part, our future dates. So we're past today. Even if we'd ran it next week, we still would have dodged Friday the 13th. It would have been Thursday the 12th. So we've been on the ball this year, and we've also managed to dodge the 1st of April. So we'll not have any April Fool's jokes. The next DigiRen, we're on the 2nd of April for the next one. So same time, 10 in the morning, it starts for 1 hour. That's online. And currently we're sitting with the next one after that, 28th of May is our hybrid meeting. We're still on our 2 hybrid meetings currently planned. Okay, I'll stop sharing now. Okay, I think that takes us to the end of the meeting. So unless anyone has anything else to add, I'll bring that to a close, and thank you all again for coming along to DigiRen and hearing about the digital inclusion work happening.